Hey everybody, I'm back again with a little bit of a different video. Now don't skip this because this is something I really want to say. I really need to explain this to you all. First of all, as always with any kind of video like this, do not go harass anybody mentioned in this video for any reason. Don't go harassing me or the creator of Willy's Wonderland, Joe Parsons, or popgoes, who's going to be the main, bit of discussion today. So this is kind of a drama topic, but I really want to keep it lighthearted, and I don't want this to get people upset or to stir up more drama. It's just this is Willy's Wonderland news, and people are talking about it right now in the Discord communities and stuff from the movie, so I want to talk about it as well. So this kind of starts a little bit back in the 2020-2021 era. The movie's first teaser had just came out, and soon we would get a full trailer for Willy's Wonderland as well. There is a popular creator within the Five Nights at Freddy's community. Now, if you're not up to date, Five Nights at Freddy's is a video game which centers around very similar concepts, pretty much, to Willy's Wonderland in terms of just the base concept, Five Nights at Freddy's is about Chuck E. Cheese animatronics coming to kill you. Willy's Wonderland is about Chuck E. Cheese animatronics trying to kill you. But because of that, everybody wants to call Willy's Wonderland a ripoff of Five Nights at Freddy's, because Five Nights at Freddy's is the more popular one. It came first, and they couldn't be more different. These two things cannot be more different. But they're both inspired by the idea, the very basic idea of Chuck E. Cheese robots coming to life, by the way. I'm not saying it's an unoriginal idea. I'm not criticizing Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm not criticizing Joe Parsons either. I'm just saying, people have been scared of Chuck E. Cheese animatronics and Showbiz animatronics for years. The idea of them killing people is not something that's light bulb, no one's ever thought of it before. A lot of people like to say that Five Nights at Freddy's, FNAF, can sue Willy's for copyright stuff. It can't, because Scott Cawthon, the creator of FNAF, does not own a copyright over the general idea of killer Chuck E. Cheese robots. He does not own the idea, and that is why there's a million different fan games and fan projects out there based on Five Nights at Freddy's, and that's what brings us to popgoes. Now, I don't know much about this game personally, but I know it's called popgoes, and that is a Five Nights at Freddy's fan project and fan game created by Kane Carter. Now, one thing to note is that the main antagonist is a weasel animatronic robot, which of course you can see that they're similar because they're both based on the same animal and they're both killer animatronics. Now, other than that, they don't look alike at all. They share zero resemblance. By the way, here's what popgoes looks like right here. We're gonna dig a little bit more into that because we have Geo's side of the story and we have Kane Carter, who's just screaming about stuff on Twitter, and that's what this video is gonna be about. We are talking about a guy's Twitter post today. The only reason these posts will be notable in any way, shape, or form is only because a notable creator in the Five Nights at Freddy's space made these posts. If it wasn't for that, nobody cares. But we're here to talk about it. So, around 2020, 2021, the first post about Willy's Wonderland specifically says this: "The script for Willy's/Wally's Wonderland has leaked a few days ago, and I smell a lawsuit. There's a bear with a top hat and glowing eyes, a pirate with his own cove, a bird with an orange beak and 3 feathers on its head, and a rabbit sets fire to the location. Really? Yeah, really." Attached to this is 4 snippets of the stuff they're talking about in the script. And also, if you're a little confused, this is because the script that got leaked is an earlier draft of the movie, dated in 2019, which I have a whole separate video about and everything. You can go check that out. You can read that script online for yourself. But that's the script that originally leaked to people before the movie came out. Nobody really knew that this script was not the final script. So, most of the animatronic cast are different in this script. There's a lot of differences. That's all people had to go off of. It should have been people's first clue that, by this time the teaser was already out, where you could clearly see that a lot of these things were not the case. If you just paid attention to the teasers and the trailers, you would have known that none of these characters that are mentioned in this old script are in that teaser. And of course, the only reason he's talking about this is because the teaser trailer had came out around that time. So again, it's like if he just paid attention more, he would know you know, these things were obviously changed, and clearly he did eventually realize that these things were changed, and that is whenever he came back with a straight up lie. Kane Carter, or popgoes, whatever you want to call him, just straight up lies in his next post. Since this is blowing up a bit with the new trailer, I thought I'd share some info. Willy's Wonderland was actually approached by Scott/Blumhouse to change some things. Barry the Bear is now Tito the Turtle, Pirate Pete is now Nighty Night, Regina Rabbit is now Cammy the Chameleon. No! So the part that's a lie about this is, of course, the part where he claims that the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, Scott Cawthon, along with Blumhouse Studios, who is the studio responsible for making the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that also exists, contacted the people making Willy's Wonderland at the time and told them to make changes, and that they're claiming that that's why stuff is different. Also, I want to say they also got the character stuff wrong. They mentioned Barry Bear is Tito the Turtle now, stuff like that. The only one they got right is Pirate Pete is now Nighty Night. That one is true. Regina Rabbit became Siren Sarah, Barry the Bear became Gus Gorilla. So I don't want to be like, actually, but I'm just saying. Obviously, this is a total lie. This has never been brought up before, and again, I'm a firm believer this movie is not inspired by Five Nights at Freddy's, or that Geo Parsons knew anything about FNAF. It's not impossible. I believe they didn't know about it until after, like they claimed. And I went ahead and I messaged Geo Parsons, and I just went ahead and I told him about this little Twitter post, and he responded, and I will read his response to you. Nah, there was never any trouble with the FNAF folks. Nick Cage likes lizards and reptiles, so we switched in Tito, Artie, and Cammy based on his wishes. The Gus switch happened because the creature creator already had a gorilla suit that was dyed green. Willy, Ozzy, Sarah, and Nighty stayed the same. It was such a silly thing for me to reach out to him about because it was obviously a no on his end. He was obviously going to just say no. But he gave us a bit more of a detailed thing, and I really appreciate that. Again, Geo is such an awesome and genuine dude, as always. Now, I want to say, again, any FNAF fan who doesn't like Willy's and wants to claim that this movie is a ripoff, usually they're going to say comments like these from the creators of Willy's, that they're lying and stuff like that. Yes, you could say that, but you also got to consider why people lie. Why do people lie about things? In a case like this, it would be to not get sued or to look good or something. That's just not the case. I just want to point out that in like every interview that Geo Parsons is in, along with other people like Kevin Lewis, the director of Willy's, and other crew members, have all said the exact same thing. Obviously, they didn't just copy paste everything, but I'm saying they talked about the same thing in the same process as to how these changes were made, and it was not what Kane Carter is claiming. So this is essentially just his retelling in our DMs about stuff that he's consistently said before, along with other cast members and other people who've worked on the movie. So again, I don't think he's lying here. Another thing that Geo has always said that a lot of FNAF fans who hate Willy say is him lying and whatnot, is this Twitter reply here where he said that at the time, which this was around 2021 when the film came out, he said that the movie was written a decade ago, which would make Willy's Wonderland older than Five Nights at Freddy's. At least the script itself was, which would imply like somewhere around 2011 was when Geo wrote the script originally. Also, me and like Willy's Wonderland Discord server members are not the only ones calling out Kane Carter for this stuff. There are other Twitter replies that I've been seeing where popgoes is just arguing with random people in the comment section, people who are pointing out the flaws in his logic and how stuff doesn't make sense, pointing out that Geo Parsons mentioned that his script has existed since 2012, 2013, and that, you know, there's no proof of what Kane Carter is saying. And essentially Kane Carter is just replying and saying, "Nuh-uh, I'm right." Now the main thing, I wouldn't call it the straw that broke the camel's back or anything, but the main thing that really made me say, I need to do a video about this because this is kind of funny. Well, a friend of mine left a comment on one of these original posts. It was the first post I mentioned in this video that they left a comment on, criticizing Kane Carter for the same stuff that I'm talking about in this video. It was on June 9th that he made the comment, and as of making this video, on June 10th, he was blocked by popgoes, Kane Carter, on Twitter, which is really funny. That means that Kane Carter is actively still looking at Twitter replies on a post he made 5 or 6 years ago, and he's blocking people who disagree with him and point out the flaws in his logic. I think that's pretty funny. Again, that's pretty much all I have to say in this video. I just want to lay out that situation for you, and you take of it what you will. In my personal opinion, this is a very doofusy kind of thing. I don't know what to tell you. It's just, yeah. The guy definitely has an ego on him. And another thing I want to point out, I have screenshots here. If you go to his Twitter and you like filter out keywords, he doesn't have a single major mention or argument to make about either the Banana Splits movie or Freddy's Friday, which are even more well known for being FNAF quote-unquote ripoffs, more than Willy's. And we know Freddy's Friday is supposed to be cashing in on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie's release. There's a lot of stuff that supports the theory that the Banana Splits movie was a reused and retooled Five Nights at Freddy's movie script. So I'm not saying that the bitching and complaining about those movies is valid. It's not. I'm just saying that when it comes to people saying it's a bit more of a FNAF ripoff than Willy's, then yeah, I'd say a little bit so, but that doesn't mean that they're bad. But it seems to me and some other people, we've kind of made up our minds, and it sort of feels like that the only reason why he really shit on Willy so much, which again only came out a couple years after the Banana Splits movie, the only reason he's probably complaining about Willy's is because this is an animatronic killer horror movie where the main antagonist is a killer animatronic weasel, and he has an animatronic killer weasel character as well. I think he's a little butthurt, and to this day it seems that he still is. I don't want to just totally criticize this dude's character, like himself. I don't want to just trash on him or anything, but look, all I'm saying is that if you are a member of the FNAF fandom, which I am too, believe it or not, I just want to say, this is the guy who started adult theory. If you know, you know, okay? I'm not going to say anything else about that, but this is the same guy we're talking about. He's been in multiple other controversies in the FNAF community. A lot of people don't like him, is all I'm saying. Now, I'm not trashing on his characters or his game at all. Those are fine and those are cool. I'm just talking about the flaws in his thing he's got going on here. And that is all for this video, of course, as well. If you enjoyed this video, this kind of, I kind of called it drama discussion. It sort of is, but it's really not that deep. It's not that deep. It really isn't. But still, if you enjoyed this kind of topic being discussed about here on the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know. And as always, there's Willy's Wonderland Discord server. There's an invite link to that in the description. Please join us. We're talking about all sorts of stuff. Most of the stuff that makes it into videos is stuff that started as a discussion in that Discord server. So if you want to keep up with news, if you want to just keep up with anything that the Willy's community's up to, then come join us. We got all sorts of events and stuff. I have a video that's kind of like a trailer for the Discord server that you can also go watch and everything. In the meantime, check out my other videos. I've been reorganizing everything into playlists a bit more, so go check out my playlist section and everything. There's a lot of stuff in those. And yeah, that's it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.